Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review. I was really looking forward to babbling about this one this week. I'm talking about Lacuna Coil and their newest album called Sleepless Empire. It's kind of weird. This year's been kind of strange. There was a couple good weeks in there, and all of a sudden it seems like we've backtracked a little bit. Like last week, not a whole lot that I found to be very interesting. I got a few albums and was excited about a couple. Of course, Dream Theater was last week, so I did the only review I did it all last week. So I was really looking forward to this one, and there's a couple other ones. And as we all know, I've said before, I don't like doing bad reviews. If I really just don't like an album, I won't do it. If I'm gonna I'm not here to rail on bands or anything like that. So I was really excited to do this one. And there's a lot I like about this album, and there's a little bit I don't like about this album. So, because there's absolutely nothing, there's like one other thing I kind of like this week. Out of all the albums I got, either nobody's going to know what I'm talking about with these bands, or they weren't as good as I wanted them to be, or expected, or whatever. But this one, I've listened to this band as far as I know from the very beginning. Going back to the first album, they've changed their style a little bit. The thing I liked about this band, like when I first got into them, is I was first listening to the bands that I guess they have kind of referred to as gothic a lot of the times. They have some symphonic elements. They have all that in there. They've got the female-fronted vocals, with some of the harsh vocals. Not a huge fan of harsh vocals, but Christina's voice is just amazing, and the style of music kind of grabbed me and brought me in. And they had something a little different about them. They had, those elements that I mentioned, but they also have, and maybe not so much on the first album, but they kind of developed a little bit into a more modern sound, and sometimes just a hard rock sound mixed with a little bit of the other elements that I just meant, that I mentioned there. They just kind of sound a little different, at least to me. And I always really liked everything they've been putting out. Now, the last couple albums, they've been changing their style a little bit. Actually, more than a couple albums, they've been experimenting with stuff. I don't know. There's a couple in there that they went a little bit too far left for me, but the last album, they're, Black Anime. I don't know. They've definitely changed their style. I don't know. They're doing some weird stuff with makeup, I guess, now too. I don't know if that's a permanent thing or they're just doing that for temporary deal or whatever. But that doesn't really matter too much to me as far as the music goes. The music's kind of always the most important thing to me. I don't know why a band that's already established is doing something with that. It doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is. Now, as far as this album itself goes, I'm just going to get the stuff I really liked out first, and that is, all their albums pretty much start the same way. They just start with a killer banger. It's just something that rocks. The Siege on this one, exception to that rule. It just, kicks in, and let me tell you what, it kicks in with the harsh vocals that are just in your face and loud, very loud. And then, Christina comes in and takes over and starts singing. It gives it that feel that you just want to hear. At least I wanted to hear in a Lacuna Coil song. And that happens throughout the album, obviously. But it seems like there's a lot more of the harsh vocals on this one. And not to be mean, but there are bands that have the harsh vocals. They have a unique style. They have something about them that stands out from from other bands out there with that same style. I personally just think, for some reason, on this album in particular, they were weaker than normal. They were louder, but a little bit weaker. The production on this album is still good, but it doesn't seem like it's up to what I've been, we've heard from these guys before, especially, going back to even their earlier stuff, like Coma Lies, and hopefully I'm saying that right. I've never really known how to say that album, but even Black Anime was actually produced very well. This one, every now and then, this seems like it gets a little bit muddy, and there's like the riffs are fast, and this every now and then it's just like you're listening, you're like, I can't even tell what's going on. There's like, it kind of gets a little bit muddy, not to the point where it's just complete just chaos or just nothing, but there it gets pretty close there a couple times, and I don't know. I've saw a couple reviews on this previously, and I hate doing that. I shouldn't do that. And I was expecting, certain things when I sat down and I listened to it. I was expecting them to be experimenting, because I'd read that they're going back to some of their earlier songwriting styles, kind of mixing some of the earlier influences and sound with the new. And I'd read that Oxygen and Scarecrow were really gonna be in that. I personally didn't pick up on that. In fact, I don't want to go through every single song on here. Honestly, there was a couple. I'm not going to say that every single song was like the same formula, but almost. I don't know. Gravity maybe stood out a little bit, and maybe I Wish You Were Dead has a little bit more dynamics. But quite honestly, I listened to this one several times through too, and at this point, if you were to put it on, I probably would have a tough time telling you which song is which, just if going by the intros of them. They just sound very similar. Like there's a very similar sound through each one, and the dynamics are not extremely dynamic. There's that harsh, and then there's Christina, and then there's middle section and very fast riffing that is nothing really stands out really super strong. I'm not saying that anything's bad. I actually enjoyed listening to it. There was nothing that I thought was horrible, but after listening to the whole thing, it was almost like listening to a lot of the same song, just a little different over and over and over. And that's just not something that I don't think a band really wants to hear from somebody. But that was just kind of what I got from it. I listened to this thing through quite a few times, and unfortunately, that's the overall feeling I got from it. There's some really great musicianship in here. I mean, going just by their individual parts and their playing, solos, executed to perfection. Christina's voice is amazing. There's some cool melodies in there. Harsh vocals, unfortunately for me, just weren't very strong or unique. And a lot of the riffage didn't sound like anything really new was happening. And that's, unfortunately for me, that was a little bit of the letdown. And quite honestly, with the amount of music that I listen to and the amount of music that's coming out, I'm probably not going to put this one back in my CD player possibly ever, and that's kind of sad because I really like this band. Who knows? Maybe somewhere down the line I'll grab this thing and listen to it again. But at the end of the day, it was enjoyable for me to listen to and check out and hear. But I'm probably not going to go back to it. But anyway, that's just my little take on it. As always, I welcome anybody's comments. You may completely disagree with what I'm saying here. That's fine. If so, please tell me what it is you like about it. Maybe I should give it another listen. I don't know. But feel free. That's what this is all about. We're just talking about music we like and what we think of it. And as always, I ask you to like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because I know they got good music in them. They've put out some killer albums in the past, and so I'm really looking forward to, whatever they may try in the future. I may like it a lot more than what this was, but like I said, it is what it is. But until next time, see ya.